Hey, welcome to the Bag Chatter Podcast. I am your host, Bryan, joined, as always, by my co-host, a man who loves nothing more than working on his tan at the beach. Adam, how are you today?
That's funny you say that because I hate the beach, Bryan. I hate it.
I can't tell if you're being serious or if you really do hate it.
I hate the beach.
Oh, you legit hate it.
I don't enjoy it at all. I want to go to a beach once a year near sunset. Don't even get close to the water. When it's cool. There's maybe most of the people have left, and you just watch the sunset on the beach. You know, I got that with you in San Diego. Saw the Pacific Ocean, watched the sunset. Fantastic. I'm going to the beach this weekend. I will sit in the miserable heat that is increased by the sand beneath you. Mm-hmm. And there's a glare. I don't like wearing sunglasses. You have to wear sunglasses. It's the only option. You know, you just mix the sand and the water and there's nothing good about it. There's nothing good. There's nothing about the beach that is good. And yet people flock there. My own family, my own blood, they can't get enough of it. They can just sit there for 10 hours. And I'm like, it's just painfully boring and uncomfortable. I hate it.
Wow, I didn't realize I was opening up this emotional can of worms. But
no, thank you.
Kind of love that we're here. I will say we went to a beach in Italy on the Amalfi Coast, and it was all rocks, like small, smooth rocks.
Yeah.
I thought like, oh, this is not going to be nearly as nice as like a white sand beach. Yeah. I actually didn't hate it. Like it wasn't very fun to walk on. It wasn't like painful, but it also wasn't great. But there was no sand. There was no sand getting in your food. There was no sand sticking to the condensation of your drink. There was no sand to wipe off when it was time to leave. Didn't hate it.
Yeah. I've been to like some really nice beaches, and that is a different experience, I will admit.
Yeah.
I hate going to like the Jersey Shore and, you know, just sitting there, you know, eating sandy crab fries. You know, I hate it.
So if you found out today that you've hit your quota on being in the ocean, you're not allowed to go back in, you would be like, thank goodness.
I just wouldn't care. It would be like, okay, yeah. When's the last time I went in anyway? I waited. You convinced me in San Diego. You're like, you can't not step into the Pacific Ocean when it's the first time you've seen it. And right. You were right. And I'm glad I took my shoes off and waded, you know, shin deep in the Pacific. But I'm like, yeah, that was good for me for the year. I don't need to go. I will not go in the water almost certainly this trip. Occasionally, when I've just been sitting there for a long time, I get hot enough. I'm like, you know what? Fine. I'll just go in for a minute.
Yeah. What if Teddy wants to play in the water?
Too bad.
Oh, we are so relatable. People love this. People love to hear two guys complaining about how much they hate the beach. Hey, listen.
The beach, if it doesn't want to be complained about, it should offer up anything good.
Hey, beach, be better.
Be better. Be better. You think you're a liminal space and that's good enough? That's not good enough. It's not good enough. You're still offering all these horrible options.
Some people call it a shore. I call it liminal sand. And it's super annoying.
Liminal sand.
I don't like sand anywhere else. I don't like it at the beach either. Thankfully, we don't build our lives around the beach. We don't build our lives around water sports. We do it around the game of golf, Adam, which is a much more enjoyable thing than going to the beach, right?
Way better. Infinitely better.
Totally agree. And this episode is one of our special episodes because it is sponsored by none other than Tony Hayden and Expert Tree Service and Science. I don't know if you knew this. This is Rumswinga Series Part 2.
Wow. And not possible without Expert Tree Service and Science.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And it was great.
We're going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode. You played Fox Chase Golf Club, which is in Lancaster County, which is why this is a Rumswinga event. Without really getting into your round or rounds too much, what is the tree situation there? Like, could Tony and his crew, could they maybe do some work there at Fox Chase?
They could, though I will say there was one hole in particular where I could have used a Tony, just, knocking some lumber down.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not a ton of trees at Fox Chase. It's fairly open, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, I also played this past weekend, we'll talk about, at Lancaster Country Club, which, we're adopting sort of into the Rumswinga series. And they've done a great job of removing a ton of trees over the last 10 years. I don't know. I'm assuming that any tree removal project, Tony is involved somehow.
Yeah, no, I mean, a tree does not come down without... If a tree falls in the woods and there's no one to hear it, Tony probably cut it down.
Probably. If it's cut down expertly.
Yeah. If you ever see a shoddy stump,
yeah.
You know that was not... There was no expert and used no science to take that tree down.
How comfortable would you be? I don't think either you and I have had much chainsaw experience in our lives. If there was a big tree in the middle of a field with nothing in the diameter that it could fall onto, and you had nothing but a chainsaw and your phone to use YouTube, would you be like, this is going to be crazy fun? Or would you be like, I don't really want to cut this tree down?
Yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, could there be an in-between between crazy fun and I don't want to do this?
No, it has to be one or the other. I would be petrified of cutting a tree down. Just like, I feel like it's slow enough that you probably can run out of the way, but if you don't, you die. So like,
I don't think we're dying in that situation, Brian. I think we can figure it out. I don't think we should. For a podcast sponsored by a tree service company, we shouldn't say how afraid. Well, no, maybe that's exactly what we should do.
Exactly.
It's dangerous. It's incredibly dangerous. You could die. Trust the experts.
What if you didn't have your phone? I don't know if you have any tree cutting experience.
I don't think it's that hard.
How would you attack it? Would you make a wedge on one side and then push?
On one side. I'd make a wedge on one side, then I'd wedge the other side, and then I'd cut, into what's left.
Would you scream like a little girl as it fell and you're running away?
No.
Would you judge me if I did?
Yeah. Yeah, man. My God. I don't think it would be that difficult or that dangerous. I mean, obviously, listen, I feel like you'd have to try to get hit by the tree. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know how many accidental tree deaths there have been. I feel like you're just spinning.
Plenty more damage, though. I don't feel like there's a ton of people who've just been crushed by a tree they were cutting down. I'm sure it's happened. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying I wouldn't be worried about it if we had to cut a tree down.
More people crushed by trees they were cutting down or by accidental tree branch falling from like weather and storms?
Oh, way more accidentals.
Yeah.
Than I would think. Have I told you when I was in Colorado, I was standing over a chip at Fossil Trace Golf Club, and a huge branch landed on me. Like really significant. I'll have to send you a picture later of the branch. Maybe we can post it on social media. It could have killed me. It had a lot of wispy branches. And so I didn't get hit by the main part of the branch.
Okay.
So I was suddenly, it engulfed me. Like I was just like standing there in the middle of these branches sticking up. I didn't get hurt at all, but it was so surreal.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy.
Were you by yourself or with people?
I was with people. People saw it and we were just like, it was nuts. It was one of the craziest moments of my life. And I was like, yeah, you didn't feel like you could have died because like I didn't even get hurt. I didn't have a scratch on me, but it's like, oh yeah, no, if you'd gotten hit by this part of it instead of this part of it, it would not have been good.
Sheesh. One thing I know people are going to say if we don't bring this up, but I think we have to address this head on. There have been allegations that at the 2023 Masters, when those trees fell down, right around that woman, some people have claimed that was Tony and his crew
We're here to say we stand by Tony 100%.
Yeah.
We know him. We trust him implicitly. And Augusta National, if they had trusted him, that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, 100%. He did not sneak onto the property with a chainsaw and cut those trees down and time it right when the wind was coming up. I just want to publicly go on record.
We're saying that. A lot of people were saying that, and I'm sick of it, honestly. I won't stand for it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but Tony, we stand with you. Thank you for your support and standing with us. And with that being said, let's get to the golf. To properly set up part 2 of the Rumswinga series, which I'm going to call Championship Weekend, just because I like the way it sounds, we've got to go back over a month, all the way back to the first day of June. Now, you might remember this from episode 10, but Adam and I played Honeybrook that day, and we both had it going really well. Adam ended up shooting a 2 under 68, and I shot a 1 over 71. It was my low round of the year to date. Now, I bring this up because not only was it my low round of the year, but it was also the last real round of golf I would play for the next month. A few days after that 71, I came down with a terrible cold that I could not shake, and the result was that the only time I picked up my clubs over the next 9 days before my anniversary trip to Italy was to play in a charity scramble with a buddy of mine on June 7th. And then 3 days later, on June 10th, still a little sick, we took a red-eye to Italy for an incredible 11-day trip that featured way too much pasta, way too much jet lag, and unfortunately, zero golf. So I got back to the States on June 20th. I hit a bucket of balls the next day just to make sure I remembered how to swing, and pretty soon realized I was very rusty. So I decided I needed to spend the next week cramming for finals. And by finals, I mean the Lancaster Country Club member guest.
All right, 5 practice sessions this week before Lancaster Country Club member guest. An absolute cram session, like I'm back in college. Today, practice session number 1. It is going to be a round of golf, probably 18. I think I'm playing the first 9 with Adam and his brother Grant. We'll see how that works out. Probably walking 9, maybe walking all 18. We'll see. All I know is it's 80 degrees, it's sunny, it is crazy windy. 20 mile per hour winds, gusts up to 30 for the remainder of the afternoon. I don't think scoring is going to be easy today, but that's okay. I am not out here to score. I'm out here to see if I can remember how to play golf, because I have only played 1 actual round in a month. 2 if you count a scramble that I played in. It has been a long time. I've got a new putter. I don't remember any of my swing thoughts. And I'm coming off the second best round ever of my life 23 days ago. So I have no idea what's about to happen.
Walking up 18th fairway. I don't know if the mic can pick up this wind, but seems like half the holes were playing directly into the wind, half the holes directly downwind. 18 is playing directly into, but we're gonna finish through. All right, it's finals week, day 2. On my way to Fox Chase Golf Course this morning to play 18, and then later in the day I may be playing another 9 or more over at Moccasin Run with Eric's cousin / my cousin Luke. Yeah, I gotta keep the cram session going after shooting a 74 yesterday at Honeybrook. 2 over on the front, 3 over on the front, 1 over on the back. Feeling pretty good, you know? There's a part of me that's like, shoot, I think I might be ready for finals. I don't know that I need to pull another huge cram session. But
I'm going to push through. There are still some things to work on. I had a few bad club selection choices yesterday. You know, I'm still sort of in the feeling out phase with these new Titleist irons. I mean, I've had them for 2 months now. You know, I've probably played coming up on 10 rounds with them. But I had a few bad club pulls, including on 18 yesterday. It was into the wind, back pin, and I was kind of between clubs, and I didn't want to go long. But I hit gap wedge instead of pigeon wedge and ended up 60 feet from the hole and 3-putted. So that was unfortunate. Speaking of putting, that's the other thing I got to work on today. Although it's like the greens at Lancaster Country Club run so fast and they're so slopey, it's almost a completely different style of putting than what you're going to have at your typical Muni at Honeybrook or at Fox Chase. Sometimes I have trouble getting the ball to the hole on average greens, which is something I definitely need to continue to work on. I think I need to really get a picture of stopping the ball 2 feet past the hole, even like moving the hole past the hole in my mind. Whatever. Anyway, something I need to work on. But I know from experience in the past, I've had some pretty good success putting at Lancaster because seeing the ball just drip over the front edge and playing a little more break than maybe you should. These are things that I do anyway. So, but nevertheless, I want to get dialed in on my putting today. I want to have a good putting day today with the new putter, and just going to try to continue to work on the feels. Not really interested in how low can I go today or anything like that. More about just sticking with the process, staying loose, grooving some good swings, and having fun. So I'll report back later on how this cram session went.
Now, before I get to what happened at Fox Chase that Tuesday, I don't want to forget about Adam and the championship weekend test he was prepping for. The 2-day Lanco Amateur, brought to you by Tony Hayden and Expert Tree Service and Science, was being played at Fox Chase Golf Course, the same course that I was on my way to that Tuesday morning. Adam had hoped to play with me to get a practice round in there, but ended up not working out for him. I kept the tee time anyway, and I ended up playing with my buddies Todd and Scott. Thankfully for Adam, he didn't have a significant break from playing golf during the month of June like I did. In fact, 2 weeks after his 68, he put up a 69 at Honeybrook to get his handicap down to a 0.1, the lowest it has ever been. And then a few days later, he teed it up with his brother Grant in the Honeybrook member guest in an attempt to defend their 2023 title. Unfortunately for the Shoreys, there was no repeat. Grant could not find the magic he found the previous year, and Adam, despite playing well, couldn't overcome the amount of strokes he had to give to most of his competitors. It was a very hot, very frustrating weekend for them, but at the very least, it kept Adam in good form with the Lanco Am less than a week away. But back to me, and that Tuesday round at Fox Chase. It was a cram session I will never forget, and if you follow me on social media, you know why. Here's Adam and I talking about what happened that morning on our Patreon-only Cold Cuts Hot Takes podcast last week.
Let's go to the most recent news first. You just got off the golf course. You literally pulled in the driveway. You sent me a text 8 minutes ago saying you're home.
Yeah.
Tell us about your round, Bryan. Anything good? Anything good
happen? As the fine listeners will hear in a future Bag Chatter episode, this is finals week for me. I am cramming for a final. Mm-hmm. And the final being the Lancaster Country Club member guest at the end of the week. It's not a final in the sense that it's like the most important tournament of the year for me, far from it, but I want to play well, and I have not been playing at all. I've spent the last 4 weeks not doing my homework, not going to class, if you will. Mm-hmm. And basically I had, since June 1st, so today is June 25th. On June 1st, we played a round. I shot a 71 at Honeybrook, a 1 over, my basically second best round of all time.
Yep.
That was amazing. And then
you lost to me that day, by the way.
I did lose to you. What did you shoot? A 67 that day?
68.
68 that day.
Sorry.
Yeah. So I lost by 3. Tough scene for me. But yeah, I did that. And then I got sick. Then I went to Italy for 10 days. And so, yeah, it was basically a month with only one round of golf being a scramble. And so that's why this is cramming week. It's finals week. I played yesterday with you. Actually shot a 74, which I was like, okay, I know how to play golf still. So that's fantastic.
That's great.
And then I went out this morning, Fox Chase Golf Club, where you will be playing in a Rumswinga event this weekend, the Lanco Am.
That's correct.
Very excited about that.
Presented by Expert Tree Service and Science.
Yes. Shout out to Tony Hayden.
Very clear.
I parred the first hole. It's a short par 4. The second hole, also a short par 4. I pulled my drive into the water, left, dropped.
I didn't even know there was water left.
Yeah, it's on the 8th hole, actually. It's the 8th hole is over a par 3, and I pulled it onto a different hole's pond. That was not a good drive. Dropped, hit it into a bunker, made double. Didn't love that.
Right.
And so then we step onto the third tee. It's a par 3. Pin is 170 yards away on this particular day from the blue tees. Slight into breeze. I do not have the honor anymore after my double. My buddy Scott steps up, hits a pretty good one, actually. Really good one. It looks like it rolls out 15, 20 feet past the pin, but certainly a shot I would have taken if offered. Then Todd stepped up and didn't hit as good of one. I think he left it just a couple paces short of the green. I step up. I pull 6 iron. Before I made the switch from ping to Titleist, my strong lofted pings, I would hit my 7 iron about 170, give or take, and it would probably have been the club I would have pulled. But with the Titleist being a slightly different loft, maybe a different weight too, it's like, okay, I think this is 6 iron. And actually with the slight hurt, I'm like, I don't even know if this has enough to get there with my super slow swing speed. But I'm like, 5 iron, surely that's too much club. So I'm going to go with the 6. And if I'm a little short on the front of the green, that's fine. And I flushed a 6 iron. It was maybe the best swing I made all day. It had a slight fade to it, like I like to see. It landed on the green and started rolling toward the pin. The thing about this green is that it has a slight crown in the middle, whereas if you would roll something all the way to the back, the ball would disappear at some point. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it looked like it went in the hole. And immediately we just all looked at each other without saying anything. Mm-hmm. And finally somebody was like, okay, we need to go see what just happened. And so Todd pulled out his phone to start recording. I pulled out my phone, and we started driving up there. And I was kind of, I still wasn't sure that it was in, even though it looked really good. We pulled up greenside, which the cart path is a good 30 yards right of the green. And as I walked up for a split second, I saw Scott's ball 20 feet past the pin, but I kind of just like blanked and I thought it might be mine. For a split second, I was like, oh, and I was like, no, wait, that's exactly where Scott should be. And at that point, I got to the green. I still had about 20 steps to get to the hole, but I was like, this has to be in the hole. I was like 99% sure. And yeah, there's some good video of it I haven't looked at yet, but I'll cut it up later. But walked up and the ball was in the hole. Where's the ball? Where's the ball? Why don't we see the ball?
Bryan, walk up there.
Where's the ball?
This may have just happened.
This is a 6 iron from 170.
This may.
Wait, that's Scott deep,
That's
right?
Scott's. Holy crap. Holy crap.
Hold on.
Bryan, you do the honors. You do the honors.
Come on. Come on.
Let's go! Let's go!
Wow!
Unbelievable!
Let's go!
Oh my gosh.
Bryan's official second hole-in-one of his life.
Number 2.
Hole 3 at Fox Chase.
All right. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right.
Scott and Todd had never seen a hole-in-one before, so they were very excited, which made it even more fun. You know the feeling, Adam. You've had what, 5 or 6?
I've had 3.
Oh, you've had 3. you can edit that out. You know the feeling, Adam. You've had 3.
You really stole my thunder. I said earlier, you now have 66% as many as I do.
Yeah, that's what screwed up my math. I was thinking I'm not good at math.
2 out of 3. Just 2 out of 3.
Please edit that out. I don't want the people to know that I'm an engineer that can't do basic math. Yeah, so it was awesome. It's, as you know, when you hit a hole in one, suddenly you're just like, oh my gosh,
Everything's fine.
I don't care what happens today. The rest of the round, I ended up being kind of a terrible round for me. Otherwise, I doubled 2 after the hole in one. I did take the ball out of play, but then I made back-to-back bogeys. Then on the par 3/8, I went in the lake again, second time in the pond, doubled 8, and then 10 is a short par 4, and I decided to double that as well. So 3 doubles through 10 holes.
Why not do that?
Got to 18, hit my drive in a fairway bunker, and knew that I needed to make par to shoot 79, the +7 79, and actually hit a good one out of the fairway bunker, but it spun back to the front of the green, had 35 feet. I needed to 2-putt, left the first one about 6 feet short, but I made the 6-footer to get in for 79.
Okay.
And it's better than 80, right? So.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm, for all the rounds I play with you, I still haven't seen you hit a hole in one. So I don't know. I think there's a high probability that you've hit a couple hole in ones, but I can't prove it, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I could, it's anecdotal. It's, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence, I would say, but I'm happy for you. This is a good omen for the Bag Chatter Fox Chase week. You make a hole in one. I play this tournament this weekend. It's a 2-day tournament, but with a cut after the first day, top 50%. So I got to finish in the top half of the field. So you're going to make a hole in one. I'm going to make the cut, and that's going to be a good week for us.
Good vibes only at Fox Chase.
That's right.
I love that. Yeah. There was a chance that you were going to play with us this morning. It didn't end up working out. Kind of an interesting hypothetical. If you had played with us, do I still have a hole in one?
No, I just don't believe you. I'm not happy at all. No.
You're just confident.
Yeah, no, and just that's not even a butterfly effect. That's there's just too many things that would change if you and I were playing.
Yeah, I actually 100% agree with you, and that's just weird.
There's no way.
Thank you for not playing today.
It's a total chance thing, and the wind could have been different if you hit 10 seconds later. I don't know, anything.
Right.
Anything could change it.
Needless to say, my hole in one at Fox Chase that morning was the biggest thing that happened during my finals week cram session. I did get 2 additional practice sessions in that week before teeing it up on Thursday at Lancaster Country Club for the official member guest practice round, which went fairly well. On the way to the course the next morning, Adam and I decided that we'd exchange audio messages back and forth throughout the weekend to keep each other in the loop on how we were playing. So I'll cue those up now. All right, I'm headed to the course. Championship Friday for both of us. I don't know how you're feeling. I am feeling pretty good. I think I went to the course yesterday for the practice round feeling like a 7 out of 10 confidence-wise. And I hit the ball pretty well yesterday. Couple of wayward shots. I'm going to work on a few. I'm going to work on my fairway woods on the range. Got flummoxed by some of the really thick rough a couple times early in the round. So made some adjustments that paid off. Drove the ball really well yesterday. So I'm excited. I'm going to tell myself all day the same thing I'll tell you right now. You have all the shots. You've put the work in. You've got the game to do this. I think this is going to be a good weekend for both of us, so let's go.
I am in championship blue. I don't think championship blue is a thing. I'm going to make it a thing, though, because when I win a championship in blue, it'll become Championship Blue. Headed out to Fox Chase for day one of the Lancaster County Amateur. The goals here, the goal is there's a cut after day one. So top 50% of the field plays day two. And the goal is just to play well and obviously to play day two. So I'm excited. I went to the range yesterday. Went to the AutoZone. I actually went to the AutoZone, and I'd struggled with my irons a little bit. I played the member guest at Honeybrook last week. Didn't go very well. I played okay. Drove the ball great. Irons weren't fantastic. I went to the AutoZone looking for something with the irons, and I don't know how much it's going to hold through today, obviously, but I found something. I found a swing thought, I found a feel, and I suddenly was feathering cuts with my irons. That could be completely gone today. I'm excited to get to the range and see if that feel is still working. Good luck in the Lancaster County member guest. Got a little update from you yesterday. Sounds like there were some tough conditions out there. Got them in U.S. Open conditions still, maybe, you know? But I'll be updating you as the day goes. I look forward to your updates as well.
All right, just came off our first 9, and man, we played pretty well, and we got beat 5.5, 3.5. And they got the point for winning the match as well. We, kind of just ran into a buzzsaw. 3 natural birdies they had, plus a net birdie. I played the Highlands 9, which is not the championship 9, but it's still a beautiful 9. I played it in 1 over. I doubled the first hole and then parred out until the 9th, where I made a birdie to win only our second hole. So playing great. Just kind of ran into a buzzsaw, and Mike was stroking on 2 of the holes and unfortunately couldn't capitalize, but love how we're playing. We're gonna try to keep it up.
We are waiting on the par 3 6th. I am 2 over through 5. I bogeyed the first 2. 3-putt bogey from the fringe on 1. Was in a fairway bunker on 2. Hit it over. Just missed the putt to get up and down. But 3 solid pars on holes 3, 4, 5. 2 over inside the cut line for the moment. We'll see how things progress. All right, I just bogeyed 11. Got a break, hit my approach shot left off the building, put it in a good spot, chunked my chip. But I did birdie 9 to turn it 2 over. So 2 over through 2, 2 over through 9, and then now 3 over on 12. I feel fine. I'm not swinging the club amazing, but I'm solid right now. I'm playing well, I'm putting well. Still inside the cut line. All right, waiting on 16T. Just made a 3-putt bogey on 15. A little bit rough on the short one there. So we have 3 holes to play. I am 4 over. I am directly on the cut line. So, all right, loving the updates. Need you to finish strong. I am not faring as well here. Man, we played so well in that first 9, and only to get 3.5 points was like pretty demoralizing. I don't know if I said it in my first update, but on the 3rd hole, Mike hit a chip that hit the pin dead and didn't go down. And then on the 8th hole, I had a birdie chip from like 50 feet that I swear it was dead in the heart and didn't go down. And then the guy hit a 40-foot, 30-foot birdie putt to win the hole.
Anyway, that was 3.5, playing well and just going up against 3 natural birdies plus a net bird. This second 9, we played way worse and had to win the last 2 holes just to get 3.5. So we're not in a good spot right now. We need to rally on this final 9, or we might be going into day 2 dead. So I hope that's not the same for you. Fight hard.
Just hit a massive drive on 17. Hit a good drive on 16, right by the water. Hit a gap wedge that I thought was perfect over the green. Chipped it in for birdie to get back to 3 over. To get back one with it, like one inside the cut line. We are now 2 holes to play. I'm right by the green on 17. We're in good shape. Got to close it out. Got to close it out. Play day 2. Had 10 feet for birdie on 17. Thought I made it. Burned the right edge. I need bogey on 18 to make the cut. I hit a great drive on 18. Best I've ever hit on 18 by a lot. I pitched up to 20 feet. Got way too aggressive with the birdie putt. Wanted it. And made a 15-foot comebacker for par to shoot 3 over 75. We're playing day 2, buddy. We are playing day 2.
Let's go. Let's go. I love that. Well done. Love that for you. Guess what? I'm playing day 2 as well. Will I be in contention? No, but I'm playing day 2. All right, this is Bryan Elaine reporting for Golf Channel live from the grounds of Lancaster Country Club, where, gosh, did I have a frustrating day today. I don't even know how to put it into words exactly. It felt like each 9-hole match was its own unique level of frustration. As I've already told you, we played pretty good in our first 9-hole match. Net 1 under, and we got steamrolled 6.5 to 3.5. Of course, the team that beat us, we talked to them later in the afternoon, and they were really struggling. So, you gotta love that. I mean, that's just what happens. Just what happens. So that was the first frustration. The second match was probably the, man, we suck right now level of frustration. We had to scramble. We had to win the last 2 holes just to lose 6.5, 3.5. And just routinely, just so bad. I don't, what is the opposite of ham and egging? Is it tuna salad? Is that the opposite of ham and egg? Because whatever it is, that's what we did. Like, there was no stretch where one of us carried the other. There was no, hey man, you're out of this hole, but I'm going to have a good birdie look anyway. It was just bad. And it kind of carried over into the final 9 as well. It felt like the holes we played well, we both played them well. And then we took a dump together on some holes. But this 9, the final 9, was also marked by some frustration of the breaks not going our way, which, sometimes they're going to go your way, sometimes they're going to go the other team's way. It's a 50-50. And we were on the wrong end of that. On hole 13, Mike had a shot that just leaked into like some tall grass, but it was like matted down tall grass, and we all saw exactly where it went in, and gone. Couldn't find it. If we find that ball, we probably win that hole. And then a few holes later on 16, one of our opponents just gacks his second shot, his approach shot,
directly into like the tall heather, and somehow it flies out of the very end of it just into normal rough. And our caddy was like, he's like, I think I saw something come out. I can't believe that was a ball. There's no way his ball came out over there, but something came out. Sure enough, it was his ball. And of course, but the other side of that is that I was in the fairway 100 yards out with the exact shot I wanted in my hand. And yesterday, I spun it off the front of the green, and I was a little afraid of it, and I bladed it over the back of the green. So, you know, there's bad breaks, and then there's bad play. Just, this course, it's so penal in spots that it really can make you into a head case a little bit about, well, I can't leave it here, I can't leave it there. And we joked, it's like, you either need to be below the hole, or you're going to be below the hole anyway at some point. Like, you just get below the hole as soon as possible, because if you're above the hole, you're going to just end up below the hole. Some of these slopes are so severe, the greens are rolling so fast, it makes you feel ridiculous. It makes you feel silly. You can hit good golf shots and you can score, but if you don't hit good shots, a lot of the bad shots, it will just put you in a position where now you have an even tougher shot. I could speak on this for hours. Nobody wants to hear it. I'm just frustrated. 3.5, and then a final 3. 10 points on the day. Probably going to be in last place on our flight. There could the low light reel that you could make with Mike's 5 bad shots of the day and my 5 bad shots of the day, you would think that we were 30 handicaps. I'm not kidding, because some of the bad shots were outrageously bad. My drive on 10, which was our third 9 of the day when we started, went off the toe of my club. It was a toe shank driver in front of like a dozen people. I don't know what happened. And then that kind of like got me all in my feels about driver, and the next drive I hit was great, and then I hit a couple bad ones. And anyway, I don't know what to tell you, Adam. It was not a good showing by Mike and I today. I am so sorry to disappoint you on this championship weekend. You did not disappoint me. You made the cut. I love to hear it. I want to play really well tomorrow, but if only one of us can play really well tomorrow, I'm going to bestow that on you. I'm going to gift that to you. And I want you to make some noise. I want you to do some damage. I'm going to lick my wounds. I'm going to see if somehow I can remember how to hit a 3-wood, because I was about 0 for 7 today on 3-woods. And I'm going to go drown my sorrows in the embrace of a lover. And by that I mean hug my wife. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm sorry to hear all of this. It makes me sad. It sounds like Lancaster Country Club went the Emperor Nero on you. And that's rough. That's rough. But I bet, Nelly Corda made a 10 on that par 3. And I bet you made better than a 10. I bet you did, and I'm happy for you. But I know the feeling of having about 10.5 points in a member guest through day 1. Did it last weekend. It sucks, and it's not fun. To go into day 2, you're just searching for money. You're just looking for cash at that point. It's a mercenary game when you're out of it after day 1, and that sucks. I feel really good about how I played today. I feel I did not hit the ball amazing, and I actually just sort of managed my way around the course. Short game putting, I just did everything I needed to do and shot 75. The cut was 76, and I made day 2, and it's pretty neat, Brian. got an email. I've already sent you a screenshot of it. It said, "Gentlemen, congratulations on making the cut in the 72nd Lanco Amateur." And it's weird. They didn't include sponsored by Expert Tree Service and Science. It's clearly an oversight on their part, and that's on them. That is on them, and I'm sorry to Tony. But I just did what I needed to do today. I just did it all day. I bogeyed the first 2 holes, played the last 16 at 1 over. I on 10, topped a ball, topped a driver, and then so I topped it 90 yards, and then hit a hybrid onto the front of the green from 250 because I don't have my 2-iron. Smoked a hybrid 250, got it on the front, nearly made the birdie. It's just like everything. And now it's like the next hole, I flubbed 1 chip. It's the only shot I want back of the day. I kind of got a break on 11, pulled one that I thought might be out of bounds, hit a provisional. It was inbounds in a perfect spot, needed to get up and down for birdie. Chunked the chip, which I haven't done. I haven't chunked a chip 10 feet in front of me in a while. But then I did that, couldn't get up and down from there for par, made bogey there, and still other than those couple very specific mistakes, I just played so solid all day. Didn't make a double, never felt like I was going to make a double. Could have shot better. Always felt like I was 2-3 over the whole day, because I was 2 over through 2. I was 2 to 3 over the entire day. Got to 4 for 1 minute, chipped in for birdie to get back to 3, and just the entire time felt like it was going to finish better. I never thought I was going to shoot 5 over. I borderline feel like I should have shot 2 over, and I don't know. I just feel really genuinely proud of the way I played. It felt like all the work I've been putting in, not just on ranges, not just in playing, the work I've been putting in tournaments has paid off to some extent. Tournament play is not as intimidating as it recently was. And what I mean by that is I made bogey on one of the easiest holes on the course, 15, to drop to the cut number of +4. And I was sitting there and I'm just saying to myself, hey, you've made 3 pars in a row 1,000 times in your life, maybe more. You need to go shoot even par right now. And I didn't feel nervous. And I chipped in for birdie, so that's a abnormality. And then I parred the last 2. And I just did it. I actually looked 3 holes in the eye and said, hey, you need to shoot even if you want to play tomorrow. And I shot even. And that's pretty great. I'm pretty excited. And I don't know what, I can't win tomorrow. Someone shot 66 today. I'm 9 back of the lead. But I can climb the board. I'm playing tomorrow. And that's pretty great. I'm excited.
A few days later, Adam and I jumped on the mics to recap our weekends and to start to talk about where things go from here. All right, Adam, Rumswinga Part 2. The events are in the books. As we just talked about, you played the 2-day at Fox Chase. I played LCC, member guest. I've got a couple takeaways from my experience. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you do as well. Let's start with you.
Okay.
You, I think it's safe to say, mission accomplished for you.
Yeah.
With the Lanco Am.
Yeah, it just felt good I really went out with the goal of make the cut. And that was the goal. I thought, and everybody thought, that the cut was going to be higher than it was. But I think everyone's guesses were 78 to 80.
Okay, I know my buddy Todd, who was going to play and then didn't, his buddy David Denlinger, who's a really good golfer, he had told him prior, he's like, I bet the cut's going to be like 77, 78. So kind of right in there. And
so the wind was down on that first day, and it was 76 was the cut number. And you know, that's not something crazy, but it just felt good to set a goal and go execute it. It's like, cause I haven't really done that particularly, because a lot of the goals I've been setting were a little too lofty realistically anyway. So it just felt good to go play solid. I shot 3 over, bogeyed the first couple, and then, played, 1 over for the last 16 holes, to shoot 75. And it just felt good. That's, it wasn't a world beating round, but it was just like, okay, like you're playing golf. That's what I want to do. And I don't, I think we're going to get into this more in the future. Maybe I think we're going to do we need to do a mid-season check-in. This is a different year for us. And I think we're doing that next week, maybe. But I definitely, these tournaments and my goal for them to have there be less nerves surrounding it, it's working. It just is working, and I'm getting very used to playing competitive golf, and I love it.
I feel like coming off a round like this, a lot of your experiences in the past couple of years has been like, oh, shoot, the cut was 76. I shot 79. Like, I can't believe I gave away that stroke there and that just one bad hole there. And, like, you've always kind of been looking back at, like, 3-4 shots away. And, so it's awesome that you went out there and did it this time.
Yeah, and so it feels good. And I played in another tournament on Monday that we don't even need to recap. It didn't go as well. The wind was up. I gave away a bunch of shots. But that happens. Like, I feel like I play golf and I shoot some bad rounds and I shoot some good rounds. And I just going into the Lancaster tournament, the Rumswinga event, going into the Publix Mid-Am, which I played on Monday, there's just zero nerve about it.
Yeah.
It was just purely, hope I play golf well today, which is exactly what I feel when you and I go golfing anyway, So it's the same process, and I'm excited about that. I'm really excited about what that looks like for the back half of this year and in the future. Yeah.
Take me to that day 2. So you achieve that initial goal, you make the cut. The conditions are harder, obviously playing the same course, but the wind was up. I played golf that day as well. It was really windy. What was your goal then? I mean, other than just like climb the leaderboard, did you have another goal, or how did you feel as the day progressed?
Yeah, I think it was just like I wanted to finish in better position than I started the day in, which I actually did by a couple spots. But so it was a lot harder. There were 2 guys who shot even the first day. I wound up beating because they shot 86 and 87. Wow. And, only one person was under par. So there were like 7 people under par the first day. And there was only one person, the winner, under par the second day. Everyone else came back. Most finished over par for the tournament in the end. I think what was frustrating about it was I actually felt like I managed the wind better than most people. So I shot 79 on the day. So I made 2 doubles, both of them completely unforced. I hit a great drive on 4. I parred the first 3. I was sitting 90 yards away in the fairway. Just need to put that in the middle of the green. And hey, Teddy, you gotta be quiet, bud.
He's screaming golf.
I know.
Leave it in. Don't cut that out.
Well, you're editing, so
I will leave it in. I won't cut it out.
So 85, 90 yards away in the middle of the fairway after a great drive. And I just sort of like a toe high miss with the wedge. Came up way short, got caught up in the big tree to the right there, and like bounced around in the tree, fell kind of behind the tree. And so then suddenly, like I'm going from what feels like it should be an automatic par.
Yeah.
I'm in trouble, and I have to like kind of punch it under the branches. It kind of goes through, and I 3-putt from there for double. And then on the par 5 on the back, I drove the ball fantastic. Day 2 especially. Both days, but day 2 especially. And I just had one very high toe right miss that was like very high right. So missed it, 65 yards right.
Those bunkers over there on the next hole?
Way right into the like long grass to the right of all those bunkers, and just never found that ball. So I had to take my provisional made par on my second ball, and that was a double.
Did you play that par 5 in +3 over the event?
No, I parred it day 1.
Oh, you parred it. Okay.
Yeah. So I parred it on the second ball. I did, and it just wasn't it. I just feel like, so I shot 79, 75. So 79 was like out of the, I believe the 34 people who made the cut. I think 79 was like 20th on the day of the people who made the cut. So it wasn't that bad a score. And I really felt like I was 2 shots away from shooting 75 again and having it be a top 10 score on the day. I'm like, if I could just knock that wedge on, not wind affected at all, and find my ball on the, hit my ball in a findable spot on the par 5, and that's 4 shots right there. Really. Yeah. And so I felt like I played pretty well, but had 2 big mistakes that really cost me. And so if I had shot 75, if I could have taken those 4 shots, from those 2 shots, I think I would have been like, so I finished T27 after being T29 after day 1. I think I would have been like T11 if I'd shot 75. So I was not far from where, a much better spot, but I did make 2 big mistakes on day 2.
And to celebrate Adam's T27, you can get 27% off in the Bag Chatter store for the month of July 2024. I believe that's the year we're in now. 27% off on orders of $50 or more if you use the code TONY for our friend Tony at Expert Tree. TONY gets you 27% off in the month of July. Adam, you didn't even know I was going to do that. I've been saving this for you.
I love it. I'm excited. Get that merch. Get your Rumswinga merch.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get a Rumswinga shirt, Brian? By the way, I never got a Rumswinga shirt.
Yeah, I got one with your name on it over here. I don't know why I didn't give it to you.
Pretty hurtful.
Last thing I want to ask you about this round: what was your best shot or best hole of the weekend? What comes to mind?
In day 1, I started 2 over. I made a really bad bogey on 15 to go to 4 over. And so it looked like they were projecting the cut at 4 over. So I was like, I need 3 pars in a row here. How many times have I made 3 pars in a row in my life? I need 3 pars. I need to get in and even to play tomorrow. And I hit a very good drive on 16. There's water right. I put myself in a perfect position. Did
you take driver off that tee?
I did, and it was fine. So it was really good. And I had 120 left in, and my gap wedge is probably like a 130, 135 club. And I just tried to take a little off of it, thought I did. It was into the wind, and it just took 1 hop and bounced off the back of the green. And so I'm like, oh, man, so need to get up and down, or else I'm going to need to birdie on the way in. And I took a pitching wedge, thought I needed to fly it just past the fringe. I needed to fly it maybe 8 feet, and then let it run. It hit the ground, started coming right, and then in the last 5 feet started trickling back left, went right in the heart for birdie on 16. So chipped in when I needed it to get back to +3. That was huge. That was huge. That moment.
I love that.
There was a fist pump and a let's go.
Ooh, nice. I hope you got good vibes from your playing partners at that point.
I did. They were very, very kind and affirming.
That's awesome. Well, great job. Great job doing your part in the Rumswinga. I loved getting the updates from you during the tournament, and excited to see where this takes us going forward. I have a couple of takeaways from my experience at the member guest. I'm
ready for them. I am ready. I've never been more ready.
Love to hear it. I'm
like Joe Biden at a debate. That's how ready I am. I've been at Camp David preparing.
You've been shooting yourself up with a specific cocktail that's not going to work. All right, couple takeaways. Obviously, as we just talked about, Mike and I didn't play particularly well. Ended up coming in last in our flight. Tony, I'm sorry that I disrespected you like that. It's just
should be.
It's a shame. But here's what I'll say. Couple things. Number one, I love fast greens. Mm-hmm. I think I knew this before, but this sealed it for me. I don't always love it when I'm above the hole and I'm probably going to 3-putt, but I just love the challenge of them. I love putting when it's okay, more than ever, I've got to match the speed in the line, but it's like an art form. It's you got to see the arc it's going to take. Mm-hmm. And man, and even when you got that pressure of if this thing rolls past the hole, I'm not going to be able to stop it within 8 feet, but I don't know. I just love it.
I agree.
And you're with me on that one.
Yeah. I've always it can get too extreme. My US Open qualifier at Rolling Green was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. And it was not, that's not true at all. That was not one of the putting was one of the most miserable experiences of my life. I had 41 putts that day, and it was because the speed was like nothing I've ever encountered ever.
Yeah. And then maybe the caveat to that is that in a specific format of a member guest where you're playing as a team, and also it's not stroke play, it's match play. 'Cause 4 putting greens, not fun. If you're counting every stroke, and obviously you're not doing that in a match play member guest format. But obviously Lancaster is a pretty special place. It's not just your run-of-the-mill fast greens course. But I was telling Mike, there were a handful of holes that I was out of the hole after a bad drive. There's not a ton of places to lose a ball there, but there are some. And I found a few of them. It was truly disappointing to me to not be on or around the green to hit my 3rd or 4th shot, whatever. I told Mike, I would love nothing more than to come out to this course and just we take turns picking a place to drop a ball just off the green and having a short game concept. So much fun. I chipped around the green mostly with my 9-iron, unless it was downhill, and I chipped really well. It was fun. I loved it, and I wish I could do more of that.
Love it.
Another thing I was thinking as I was sitting around watching the shootout, I was thinking of you grinding out your 2-day solo tournament, and this is something we can talk about more in the next episode. But I was just thinking this is my scene. This is what I love. This I love just all of it. I love the team event part of it. I love, handicaps, which we'll talk about is my last point. There's a lot I don't love about handicapped events, but in a 12 flight experience like this, nobody was getting more than 2 pops in 9 holes over somebody else. You know what I mean? So the handicapping was close enough that you were basically playing against people in the same ballpark as you. I thought to myself, I'm glad I'm here and not with Adam right now in that. And as we'll talk about next week, I haven't really played in any individual events yet. I'm registered for one. I'll be playing in the Lanco Open.
Yeah.
I'll probably be playing in the Honeybrook Club Championship, which isn't as high up on the pyramid of importance. But so I have some.
It's actually pretty high for me.
But it's pretty high, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'd rank it higher than almost any of these like smaller events that we're doing, sort of like the Publinks events. Like to win where people know you would be a huge deal to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So I've got some coming up, and so I'm going to get in the fire a little bit with it, but I think that's more my scene. So, but more to come on that in the coming weeks and months. I'll tease it that way. Final thing I'll say, I really had an epiphany this weekend. We've talked about handicaps a little bit. We've talked about how maybe playing at Honeybrook is a disadvantage versus playing harder tracks.
In terms of getting your handicap down.
In terms of getting your handicap down. But it became... most people probably already know this, but it became crystal clear to me this weekend that there's really, it's kind of like the NBA. You either want to be really good or really bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to be in the middle. I kind of feel like it's the same thing with handicaps. Like you either are grinding to get that thing down or you're padding your handicap for these events. I don't know how else to say it. I had this conversation on the Friday night. I will not name this person. It was not a member there. It's a guest. That's a guy that I've only talked to once before. And so we were having a friendly conversation. We're talking about my trip to Italy and stuff. I mentioned how I hadn't played in a few weeks, how I was sick before Italy. I was like, actually, right before I got sick on June 1st, I had my best round of the year. I shot a 1/71.
Yeah.
And then I didn't play for 3 weeks. And he goes, "Did you post it?" And I went, "Yeah." Do I have an option not to post it? But I do have an option not to post it. And I realized in that moment, oh, okay, this is probably what most people do, especially the same month of an event like a member guest. I just think, and so my epiphany wasn't, I need to start manipulating my handicap, but it was more I think the first half, I want you to see what you think about this. I think the first half of next season, golf season, leading up to things like the Lancaster member guest, the Honeybrook member guest, I think I'm going to put everything out, and I'm not going to take a single gimme from anybody, because the worst case is that I miss 10 of those across 20 rounds or something, and I benefit from a handicap. I don't want to manipulate my handicap. I don't want to pad it with extra strokes. I don't want to not post rounds. But knowing it felt to me like the PED thing in baseball in the 90s, where it's literally everybody's doing this, and how can I keep up? I don't know. What do you think about that?
It's why I have checked out of handicap tournaments, period.
Yeah.
And I can't relate to anything less. So all I've ever wanted is to be a good golfer.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to be a scratch. I want to get it as low as conceivably possible. And anything that could even momentarily make me think, maybe I don't want to shoot a good score today. It's stupid and unhelpful, And so it's why I just check out of the conversation, honestly.
Yeah.
So all I care, I played in a member guest a couple weeks ago too. Did not do well. I came in, I was 0.1. I was the lowest I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, great, perfect. That's where I want to be. I'm the low. So it is now back. Got rid of a couple. We're now up to 0.9. Unfortunately, we're going the wrong direction. But at the same time, it's just no. I completely get what you're saying. And especially if it means you're playing more honestly. So if you're playing more honestly and then maybe you miss some of those putts and your handicap you actually benefit from. But at the same time, I won the member guest at Honeybrook last year. That was an incredibly fun week. I take no pride in the fact that we won that. Okay. I took some pride in the fact that I played well in the shootout, in front of everybody. I really stepped up. I don't think winning a handicap tournament is an accomplishment, period. And
that's fine. That's fine. That's on brand for you.
And so I'm like, that's fun. I totally get. Listen, if I also would have rather been at the Lancaster Country Club member guests. You know, like I think anybody listening would take that because it's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, even with the money involved in a member guest, I'd way rather win. You know, the Lanco Am.
Yeah.
Because, you know, for nothing, because it's an actual accomplishment. It is something to put on your golf resume.
Yeah.
I know you're not building a golf resume, but winning the member guest is not a golf resume item.
Yeah.
You know, and so if I'm actually going to have my handicap go up to do something that I don't even believe is an accomplishment, I'm like, then for me, my goals are off.
I want to become a better golfer, like unquestionably. Like if you told me I can't become a better golfer, this is as good as I'm going to get, that would be a huge bummer and would 100% affect me going forward. But specifically the goal of lowering my handicap, I don't know how much that actually means to me. Like I think I would rather play tougher courses. And of course, it all comes down to the rating and slope. But I'd rather play tougher courses and know I was a better golfer, even if somehow that meant I was walking around as an 8 instead of a 5.
Yeah, I trust the slope rating system a little more than you do. I think people talk about, you know, certain courses handicaps traveling well, not traveling well. I don't really believe in that much. I'm sort of like, I think there are things that are easier and harder. I think I would be a lower handicap at a harder golf course because I think I would still shoot right around par sometimes, even when the course rating was 75, you know, when I'm playing well. And so that suddenly is like a plus 2.5, 3 round, where at Honeybrook, I have to shoot 4 under to get to that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think, to me, you say that you want to be a better golfer, even if that doesn't mean your handicap goes down. And to me, that's like, I want to be wealthier, but I don't, even if it means I don't make more money. You know, it's sort of like, it feels like that to me. I'm just like, no, I understand that we've talked quite a bit about how, yeah, my handicap fluctuates depending on what time of year it is. And sometimes it's, you know, it was not that long ago. I was in the 2s somewhere and I'm like, well, I hit the 2s, you know, a couple times 7-8 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah, but no, I'm a much better golfer than I was 7 or 8 years ago, no matter what the handicap says. So I get that in theory.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, no, I think if you're a better golfer, your handicap will follow.
As much as I say that's my scene and I love that, it is frustrating when it's like, I came into that tournament as a 5.3. Oh, and well, the follow-up to that question was, he's like, did you post it? And I'm like, no. And he was like, oh, that must have taken you down a bit. I was like, yeah, I was a 6.0 and I posted that and I came down to like a 5.3 or 5.2. He's like, oh yeah, that sucks. And it's just like,
yeah, I mean,
you just, you know, I'm playing matches against guys and I'm like, oh, I just watched you play 9 holes and you're an 8.1. I'm like, that's interesting, right. You know?
Yeah, I just hate anything where you just said you posted one of your best rounds ever.
Yeah.
Your handicap came down because of it. And someone says that sucks. Something's broken. Like, that's not good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I did have I had an amazing time. It was awesome. Mike and I will be back. I think we'll be back next year. We kind of took some notes at the end of our experience and we said, these are the things we got to remember for next year. So I put them in an email, sent them to him. It's proprietary and secret. I can't really share what's.
I understand. I wouldn't dare ask.
So yeah, that puts a bow on part 2 of the Rumswinga series. And before we get out of here, I got to say, very exciting news for us. Tony Hayden himself of Expert Tree Service and Science is coming to Pennsylvania. He's coming to Honeybrook at the end of August. How excited are you for this?
I'm very excited. This is going to be great. Met Tony in San Diego. We met him in North Carolina as well, didn't we?
Yes. Yep. I met him in North Carolina. I don't think you did. I think you had left when I met him.
I think that is what happened.
Yeah.
But great guy. Been very kind to us. Made these tournaments happen. We know him. We love him. And we can't wait till he gets out here.
yeah, we're going to tee it up with him, and we want to throw it out to all of you. If you're in the Pennsylvania area, or even if you're not, that last Saturday in August, and again, we're in 2024 at the moment, that last Saturday, I believe it's the last day of August 31st, we're going to be teeing it up potentially for 36 holes. So if y'all want to make the trip, if you're interested, we don't really have a ton of details at the moment, but we threw it out to our Patreon folks at first, and then we thought, you know what, let's throw it out to everybody. You can shoot me an email, brianelaine@gmail.com. You can reach out to us on the social medias, and yeah, we'll give you more details. We're probably going to be playing around in the morning and around in the afternoon. And I don't know, if we get a handful of guys out there, who knows? We could even turn it into a little mini tournament or something.
Yeah, little mini tournament. I hope a few people respond and get out here, and we'll have a good time, and we'll make something of it.
We'll cut some trees. Is there any trees at Honeybrook that need to be cut down if Tony comes? I got a couple in mind.
Yeah, I got a couple I would happily take down.
Maybe we'll do a draft of trees to cut down at Honeybrook on a future Cold Cuts episode.
Absolutely. They'll listen to us, I'm sure.
Patreon.com/bagchattergolf, and catch you next episode.
Okay, Teddy.
So I think what Teddy was trying to say there was that I forgot to tell people where the store is. Just go to bagchattergolf.com, click on the store link, and it will take you to our Shopify store. Well, it's hard to believe it's already July, but here we are. So in our next episode, Adam and I are going to assess how this year has gone so far, make some predictions for the last few months of the golf season, and probably throw in a little bit of nonsense as well. That's just what we do. Oh, don't forget, the code at the Bag Chatter store to save 27% on all orders over $50 is Tony, Tony, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much for checking out the Bag Chatter podcast. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and you already know how to subscribe to podcasts, so I'm not going to waste your time. You can find us on all the socials at Bag Chatter Golf or Bryan Elaine Golf. And you can check out everything we have going on at bagchattergolf.com. If you want more content from me and Adam, check out the Bag Chatter Deli. That is our Patreon, where we only serve the choicest portions of 4-ball ham and the leanest cuts of bone meat. For $5 a month, you get to support the pod, and you get a weekly episode of our Friday supporter-only podcast, Cold Cuts, Hot Takes. You can find that at patreon.com/bagchattergolf. You guys are the best. Thanks so much for listening.